Welcome back, everyone. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared results in the 6 areas of the FCT area council elections where elections held yesterday. The FCT election is the first INEC election that will be conducted this year, 2022, ahead of the governorship elections in FCT and Osun State. In the light of the adjustments made to some of the processes of the election, the Commission is also looking forward to the electoral process and anticipation of the electoral amendment exercise. Well, how did INEC fare yesterday? Take a look at how this. It looks like the two major political parties have shared the outcome of this election. APC 3. PDP won 3 area council elections. So you can see the breakdown of how the elections went there. But in the overall picture, how did the exercise go? If you look at some of the pictures of what happened yesterday, basically the local council election in the FCT is the only local government election that INEC conducts in the 36 states and the FCT. In the states local council election, the state SIEC, the State Electoral Commission, conducts the local government elections. But for the FCT, it's a special kind of election, if you may regard it as such, because INEC as a national body conducts that exercise. But how did INEC fare yesterday in terms of security, deployment of materials, the effectiveness of the BVAS, which is going to now be at the fulcrum, the spine of our elections? I'm now being joined tonight to discuss these issues. The INEC REC for the FCT, Alhaji Yaya Bello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, REC.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And also a member of the board of Yaga Africa, Mr. Ezenwa Nwago. Thank you so much, Mr. Nwago, for coming tonight. Maybe we should hear the assessment of the REC. First and foremost, how would you assess the exercise yesterday? Let's hear from you. What can you tell us about the result? All the results have been announced so far. What can you tell us?
Thank you very much, John. All I can say is that we prepared for this election. We conducted the election. The election has been concluded. Results has been announced, as you have already said so. And that is how it is. That is my own assessment. First of all, we prepared very well for this election. And it was a large turnout, for this election. People really turned out to vote in the FCT. They casted their votes. Their votes counted, and we announced this result. It was, to me, that is it. That is my assessment. Is that it was, it was free and fair, and people turned out, and it was well prepared election.
So we have 3 local government
we have
councils for the PDP. Can you give us a breakdown of that?
Before the election, PDP had only 2 chairmanship positions, but now they share 3-3. Now the PDP has won in Kuje and Buhari, and also have won in Amak. APC has won as a rewon in Kwali, and they have rewon also in Abaji, and they rewon also, in Wagwalada.
Okay, but APC lost Amak.
The APC lost Amak.
So Amak is the center, is the city center.
It's the city center. That's Abuja Municipal.
That's where the local government council, where the president, the villa is, and the National Assembly and all the rest.
When you talk about Amak, that is the Abuja Metropolis, that is where.
So invariably, is a PDP local government council chairman for the president's home?
No, that's not it.
I'm just trying to fully elect.
That's not
invariably, that's what it means.
No, in INEC, in INEC, it means that the PDP has won the Abuja Municipal.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Thank you. So, in terms of your deployment, what was the problem?
There was no problem. As far as I'm concerned, you have said so. This election is the election that is conducted the only election in this country that's been conducted by INEC. The national chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the National Commission has said so several times that this is the INEC election. This is the only election that is conducted for the local government. Nothing, was short in supply to prepare for this election. All the funds that were needed to conduct the election were there. All the materials were deployed. As of 2 weeks ago, we had more than 97% of non-sensitive materials delivered to all the area councils. On Friday, on Thursday, we collected the sensitive materials from the CBN. That is the ballot papers and the result sheets.
All right, Rick, let me allow the independent observer who monitored, they did, I must sort of commend your organization for the sensitization that you did before the election to make people to come out, and also monitoring the election. But from your own point of view, the assessment of the REC, is it different from your own assessment?
Yes, it's miles apart. It's quite miles apart, and that is because you know that local council elections are the place where our people should learn democracy through participation. And when INEC gets to the point where it celebrates outcomes and not the integrity of the process, then there's a challenge. Because you cannot get into this chest thumping when it was evident to everybody that first and very clearly the new pride for all of us, the beavers, you were in Anambra, Absolutely. We were together there. If you felt that it was a challenge in Anambra, it was a debacle in Abuja.
It was a major problem.
It was a real issue.
But we understand that there were about 2 that were provided in each polling unit.
There were technical, very technological glitches that are very clear, that are evident. Some are even scandalous that we can't start talking about, where people saw their names on the online platform and they cannot find their name on the register. These are very clear issues. The issue of the new polling units that were created, where you have people couldn't, within the period, to find out where they were going to vote was a challenge, because you had many of those polling units, not even voters are not distributed to them.
In terms of deployment and early start to the exercise, because in a lot of places that we covered, we discovered that the exercise didn't commence until about 10 a.m.
That is what I'm telling you.
Logistics-wise,
if your punctuality index has issues, and like I keep telling you, the problem with public institutions in Nigeria is that they do what I call defensive public relations. Oh, there was no problem. No, there were problems, clear problems. And what is important for us is that there are arguments. There are people who make the argument that, INEC should take over conducting local government elections all over the country. And then we saw INEC do that in 6 local governments, and the same logistic challenges that are associated with even our own elections still happened in FCT. So the lesson to learn from that is that where is the need for an audit? Where do we have to do a comprehensive audit at this point to look at, because you are looking at Osun, Ekiti, Osun, and then 2023. If Beavers had issues in Anambra and there is still that large hue and cry about its performance, you need to do some introspection.
And we may not have the latitude to provide as much as 2 Beavers for units in 2023.
And then beyond that, even the deployment, there were issues of where trained people were withdrawn and untrained people were used for the elections. There are many issues, but you see, and those issues have been spotlighted. It is not to excoriate the tendency to feel that, we deployed, in terms of, we visited those local councils, people were there when the materials were distributed. I personally went to Gwagwalada to look at the level of preparedness. And when I came out, I said, it does appear that INEC is prepared for this election. I am one who is very optimistic about the capacity, the competencies that are within INEC to deliver. So when this shortcoming happens, it makes some of us look very, very, because we go out there. You saw us in the field telling people, come out and vote.
We went to the markets,
and then
we saw
two of the people who went for that voter education outreach could not vote themselves personally on account of the challenges that I'm talking about. So
we'll allow the rec to respond to some of these issues, and we'll take them one after the other. But one area that INEC doesn't have control over, and which you did a good job, I must say, is asking people to come out. Did people, what was the turnout? Because that is the issue with the voters. Did they come out?
Well, you know that we have a challenge of, voting is not compulsory in our country. It is always going to put that out. There is so you have to persuade people. So there's anger, people are talking about how government is not working for them and all of those things. So when you meet them in the field, you are talking about the quality, the value of their citizenship, which is expressed by this being part of the leadership recruitment process. So we've tried the much that we can. There was actually very low. And the investment in local council elections, even by agencies, are also not, and even donors and civil society are not as they should be when you have state elections.
Do you think that as part of the franchise as captured in the Constitution, there should be some incentives to citizens to encourage them to come out?
I think that
because it's becoming abysmal by the year. I mean, every election cycle, you discover that it's gone from about 40-something% in the 2007, 2015 to about 30-something% in several governorship elections.
We cannot let's not make this excuse for why people, there are many reasons. But let me tell you, people go for what they understand and how much they think that is of value. There are people who still commit money to what in reality, they use their own money. There is a musician that will come to Abuja now, okay? And table is 500, this is that, 1 million.
And the whole street will be locked
and everywhere is locked down. And the man says, I'm a madman. And he expresses it in the way he plays it. And people, the whole place. And then the one that has, these 6 area councils that we are talking about, by virtue of the Constitution, get their resources directly. There is no midway. So monies in this local government are spent on your behalf without your being interested in it. And you want incentive, you want somebody to give you incentive.
Perhaps for someone who was supposed to be out yesterday and didn't come out, the essence of some of this education, voter education, is the fact that you have missed out in being part of the most important aspect of governance in Nigeria, which is the closest governance structure to any citizen.
Many of us don't know that local governments have a budget, that they spend through a budget. But we talk about national budget. If there is going to be whatever the appropriation bill, all of us focus on it. But these local governments, whether governors hijack their money or not, and the one that gets to it directly, they spend money on me and on behalf of both of us.
I mean, I'm personally saying this because I want us to see an election in Ekiti or Osun State where people can come out. Based on the number of voters that we have, come out and exercise. You can't complain in your corners and say things are not working if you don't come out to exercise your franchise. Let's take up a few of the issues that you have raised. First and foremost, on the issue of deployment, Rec, there were late start to the exercise. What caused it? You had logistic problems.
No, my friend here from Yaga, I was waiting for him. Then he differentiated between deployment and a challenge from a gadget. So he started talking about deployment. We deployed very well. If, for example, if he had seen, he has observed that there was a late deployment in one place or the other, that is another issue. But generally, we deployed in good time. For example, I was able to go early in the morning. In fact, some of our own ad hoc staff, they left their, rack camp at around 6 in the morning, some 5:30 in the morning. We deployed very well. When you talk about, you have to differentiate between deployment, and the challenge either faced from a machinery.
Okay, so before we go into the beavers, the challenge with beavers.
Yes.
In a lot of places that we visited as China's television, I mean, apart from what he even observed, from our own observation, we saw that exercise didn't start until about 10 a.m. in most places.
When you said most places, that's the most places that have gone.
We visited in Kwagolada, we visited Amak, we visited Buari, right here. And there are a lot of places that exercise did not commence until 10 a.m.
Okay.
What do you think was the cause? Because we understand that there was a curfew between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m.
That's true.
So, movement around wouldn't have delayed your deployment?
Not at all. Like I said, that before the election, just a day before the election night, all these ad hoc staff, they sleep in racks. The vehicles stay with them. Every material is distributed in the night. There is no reason why there should be any...
But is there any lesson you can take away from this? If you had to do this thing maybe again tomorrow, is there something that you should have done differently?
Well, we'll look at it. We'll see why there was such a gap. But like I said, we have noticed. I rely now on people who have seen.
Logistics has always been a problem with INEC. 2011, 2015, 2019. The major election, on election day, things will just fall flat on their face. And people will find it difficult to explain what has gone wrong. I mean, he mentioned the issue of exchanging ad hoc officials right at the polling unit.
No.
What happened?
No. That is, I have no idea about this.
You don't have an idea?
No way. Let me tell you. If we have such a case, we'll look into it very seriously. Because my own, somebody who is my cousin is here. He conducted this election as an SPO in 2019. He applied, we opened a portal this time around. He applied through the portal. And he conducted this election very well. He got a reply from the portal, and he was invited to come for a training. He didn't. He was far away. He came back. He wanted to come and do the work. After the training, I refused. I declined. I can even call his name off this record. So, and also, my own son, he was, he
wanted to be part of it.
Excuse me, I said no. So I made sure that deployment of people are those that have trained. Let me tell you something. If I discovered that there were substitutions, we will find out how it came about. Because after the training, the required number of ad hoc staff that we wanted, that is about 11,700, we also train 5% as a contingency, so that in case there's any need for any absent ad hoc staff,
maybe when you call back your staff and you make a general review, maybe you might find some of these issues. But what about the beavers? What explanation to the failure of the beavers?
Excuse me, you know that the beaver is a technical issue. I'm a wreck. How can I explain a failure of a machinery?
But you
but when you say, but I supervise this election. I have gone around. I have seen where beavers worked. I have seen where it worked slowly. I have seen where it didn't work at all. So there was no one-way traffic.
Was it a weather problem? No. Was it electricity? Was it network issue? What caused that? The late or the ones that are not working at all? What caused it?
You see, we have an army of racktechs that were trained before the election, so that if there's any problem with the beaver, they will go and look at it.
Right. Because we want to take lesson away from this one to correct.
They went round. I wouldn't. If I go, I wouldn't know exactly what it is. If you go, you wouldn't know exactly as a journalist what's wrong with the beaver. So, but a racktech, this is something technical. This is something that our technicians, our engineers, they will look at it.
All right, Mr. Nwago.
Okay, so CDD, Situation Room, Yaga Africa, CTA, many organizations were accredited by INEC to observe these elections. And the reports of those observations have come out. The value of it is that INEC can then take the opportunity to have an internal audit of the processes. What are the things that went wrong? Channels, you went round. journalists were everywhere. They were calling us, they are asking us, you know, you came, you are defending this, but this is what is happening in the field. And we need to look at our technology. We need to go back. There needs to be an interrogation. Otherwise, we may have a crisis in our hand. We can shine, a pattern can emerge where you go to Ondo and it does well, and then we say, oh, we are prepared for 2023, and we get into 2023 and then everything falls flat. We need to have a very serious firewall around what the challenge is on the technology that we are deploying. Process is the key. It's not the outcome. I see a concentration on process, on outcomes. Outcome, 3-3, they have shared it 3-3, and then the integrity of election has more to do with, look at what security did in Abuja, for instance. You brought out a notice that you have lifted restriction. And then just few hours after that, that confusion itself
may cause a lot of trouble.
It's also a lot of trouble.
The management of the communication,
management of that security. It was everywhere. Oh, it's been lifted. People who had things to do. It will have also been a good opportunity to test out, you know, not shutting down
the city when there is an election.
Because there are a lot of lessons that needs to be learned.
All right, we need to close now. In 30 seconds, Alhaji, if you can give us your final thought.
But you know, the value that we drive from observers, from stakeholders, is that whatever they have seen, you know, is always a credit that we can take. Because if they criticize a process or they observe a process and make inputs, then it is for us to look into what they have said, see the credibility of what they have said, the substance in what they have said, and so that we can take it and use it and utilize it in order for a better performance next time. You know, they are not critiques for nothing. They observe, they look at things. We can look at what they have said, we can digest it, you know, we can prepare for it. But you know, this is the policy of INEC, you know, taking into cognizance inputs from those who have seen, and then we can develop something. We cannot do it. That's why we have so many other various critical stakeholders.
So we need to go now. Your final thought.
Oh, it's for our people to understand that there is value in this citizenship, and voting is an essential vehicle for expressing that.
I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Ezenwa. I know the lessons for it because we're preparing for 2023 election, and this is the year a lot of issues will come to the table, and I'm very sure that we'll be reviewing some of these things more and more. Thank you so much, Alhaji. It's good to see you again. I appreciate it, and well done. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you
for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.